Hello, I hope that you are doing well. So this video has been very late. I know I've been procrastinating a lot and finally I'm doing it because if not it is gonna be too much time. So in theory I'm supposed to cover every 2 weeks how I am doing, but in this case I don't know, it is 4 or 5 weeks. I don't even know how many. And this is gonna be a very interesting video because I have changed a lot of direction, and it also turns out that it is when I started to paint less and less that I actually did the most progress. And in this video, I think is the moment where I have actually made a breakthrough in my style and how I like to paint. And I am so happy about it because I wasn't really seeing the path on how I was gonna get there. I was just trying things randomly and suddenly it started working. I don't even know how. So let me show you what I did. At the beginning, I continue with what you have seen in the previous videos. So I was doing another color study from Nathan Fox Art. You can see it here. And for example, in this one, just to tell you a little bit what I learned, I realized that in its layer, he has different colors. So the background is completely yellow and purple, as you can see here. Then the middle area is all teal, some kind of green, I would say. And then all the warm colors are in the first layer, however you want to call it. And something interesting that I think that he does is that he takes some of the colors of the previous layer and put it in the next one to create some coherence in the painting. So for example, we can see that some of the purple and yellow gets added in here in the middle area, right? It gets kind of blend. And the same, we can see that some of the teal that we see here is put into the foreground, like here, for example, or here. This way, ensuring that everything goes well together. So anyway, this is something that I learned here, and then I try to practice it in this other painting. Now I am doing these paintings in a small way because this way I really ensure that I only take 1 hour and I don't burn out myself in doing just one study. Now, I realized that this isn't very obvious what I did here, okay? It was more like, I think I was trying to do many things. But basically what I try to do is I try to do the foreground like more warm and with more saturation in the color. Then I did another layer that was more a desaturated green. And the last layer was blue, basically. And what I did is that, for example, you can see here, I added a bit of the desaturated green in the last layer. And in here the same, this is supposed to be desaturated, but I added a little bit of this yellow at the beginning. So anyway, I don't know what you think. I kind of like this study, how it went, but of course there is a lot more to learn about it. Now, until here, all normal is very similar to what I have been showing to you, right? And I did some difficult studies, like you can see in my channel that I did a course about how to paint translucency in skin. And well, I'm not gonna show it all to you, but I have another video in my channel about how to paint mountains that you can check. And now comes the random things that I started to do. I'm not even very sure why. I guess I was trying to solve things that would frustrate me while I was painting and doing my studies, but anyway. The first thing that I did was this study about how to merge different brushes. And well, it was useful, and I really love to now have this as a reference because now I can come here when I want, for example, to do a render that looks nice and doesn't look so basic. I can come here and find the style that I really like very easily, and this way I know which brush to use. Because I don't know you, but I have no memory at all of which brush does what. I have to find out from the beginning every time I try to use them. I only know like 2 or 3 and that's all. After that, I started this other exercise that was recommended in the course that I was doing, which is basically taking 3 random colors and try to do a composition with those colors. I got tired, to be honest, and in here I realized that I am really bad at composition. Like, I have no clue what I am doing. This one was a bit easier, and I think it's a composition that has been shown many times, but with the rocks I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have any idea what I was doing here, so anyway, this is something I need to practice. And like that, I went from that to started to do some characters. I'm not very sure why, I guess because I was getting bored of landscapes. Characters is what I have been doing for most time, so I think I am a bit better at this than I am at painting landscapes, but anyway. I started by the one in the middle. To be honest, I don't know if this character reminds you of anyone. I was trying to do some female character that will remind me of Vegeta, because this is the typical position in which he usually is. And then from there I took it with my imagination. I did this and I felt that there was a big improvement from other characters that I have done in the past. And I am not sure why. Maybe I choose better the colors, or maybe the light and shadow is better painted, but I really like it. And by the way, I realized this is not finished, right? Look at the boots. So probably I should add a lot of more details. But anyway, I left it for later, and to be honest, I am also not good at adding details yet. And well, after this one, I paint this other character that you have in the right, and I really, really love this one. I really wanted to finish it, but again, I left it unfinished as it is now. And on this one, I really like the face and the hair. It is more like the way that I like to paint. So yeah, I was really happy about it. And what happened? That while I was painting these ones, I got in Instagram, I think it was in Instagram, an ad about a free webinar about how to paint costumes for characters, and I really loved the artist that was doing it. And yeah, this was the image that was in the webinar, and I love it. Like, I have always loved fairies and the painting of fairies. They don't look so good when I do them, but I really, really love this image, especially the pink costume right here. So I joined the webinar, why not, right? And the webinar was good, it was nice. How can I explain this? So I just joined the webinar, it was late in my time zone, and I was like, okay, I wasn't really feeling it a lot like it. But I said, okay, I will just hear it and doodle a little bit while they are doing it, because this is what the artist was recommending, and that's it. So I was doodling without caring too much about it, just doing wherever and following a little bit the instructions that she gave us. And suddenly it started to look really, really good. And let me show you what I was doodling. So I just started doing the most basic stuff, like really, really silly. And she was explaining to us, okay, I just use like the most basic way of painting a character. I just use 2 rectangles, and then I don't really care about anatomy. Like, I do the arms almost like a spaghetti, right? Like, she didn't care too much. And I tried to apply that, and I just painted this. And it is way, way better in terms of silhouette, of how the figure looks and everything, way better than anything that I have painted before. And if you compare it to what I did just before this painting, mine, I think they look way more stiff, right? While in here, the image looks much more flowy, dynamic, interesting. So, no clue how it happens. She just told us to use 2, I think it was 1 rectangle and 1 half a circle to paint the body. She wasn't doing anything else, and then the arms and legs were almost spaghetti, as I'm saying. And yet, by applying that, I did this, which I really, really love it. And well, they have different dresses, because at the end of the day, this was a costume webinar, right? But yeah, to me, it felt like magic that something so random like this webinar will wake up this on me. And I think it was not only that basic structure, but it was also how she was talking about art. Like, she said that she always loved it, that for her holidays mean painting, and then she was very clear, like, I paint what I like to paint, I don't paint what I don't like, I don't do 3D because it requires too much patience. So for her, you could really see that she really enjoyed the painting, and she remembered that. And maybe I have lost touch with that part of me that just enjoyed painting, because I'm always trying to do the painting good and perfect, and like my next big thing, right? So yeah, I don't know, something clicked in me, and suddenly I start doing much better paintings. So you can see these ones. After those, I did this one, because it also reminds me of how I love fairies. And again, in this one, for example, I didn't even give one thought to anatomy or the angle of the face. I just didn't care if it would look good or bad or weird, and it suddenly came up good. And the angle of the face, for example, I love how it looks like here. I have never painted something like this before. Like before, it will be either very realistic, over complicated because I am using reference, or it would look odd. So yeah, super, super happy with how it looked. And then, very weirdly, well, you can imagine I was super motivated. I was loving to paint. I was all day doodling, trying this type of figures and seeing what will come up with from it. And I started to saw that my figures will going back to become stiff. So in here, for example, I like this elf over here. This is the first one that I painted in this page, I think. But everything else, it's like, it has lost the flow. It is back to the kind of paintings that I used to do before. And I have no clue why it changed. So if this has ever happened to you, let me know. Let me know how this stuff works, because I don't really get it. But yeah, basically it was like I was losing the inspiration. I don't know. But if I could paint like that the other day, why not the next day, right? So anyway, this is a little bit what was going on. And well, then I kept painting. I tried to keep it light. And I got, I don't know, I will call it an intermediate point where the paintings are not so flowy as they were at the beginning, which I was really excited about, but they look less stiff and a bit better than the ones that I just showed you. And for these ones, for example, I really love the colors. I am also very happy about it. So again, really good week, and I'm really liking kind of the style that I'm starting to have. Like, it is not super realistic, not super anime either, but I feel like it is something a bit different, like I am not a copy of what everybody's doing these days or of a specific artist, which I wouldn't like to be. I can just show you a couple of more images. Like, for example, over here, I was really liking the hair in here, or the kind of face that this one has. And I was starting to feel more comfortable, like okay, this could be something like my style, right? Like very straight lines, kind of anime, but kind of not. But anyway, when I would try to paint and render well, it will not always look good. So for example, I did these other two paintings, and I was really trying to have an effect that then you can really use in a full-blown illustration. And yeah, I don't really like it, none of them. So I'm not sure where I went wrong, but I was still struggling about the final rendering. And this was making me kind of sad. And I had to remind me that I had a huge breakthrough on how I draw, how I paint faces, how I paint bodies. Now it was looking much better. And instead of being happy about it, because it has been, I don't know how much, maybe months, years without me really having a big improvement in how I paint bodies. Well, instead of being proud of that, I was still complaining that, okay, yeah, I can do this now, but I still cannot do the render right. So I had to remind me to try to celebrate it and be happy about it and so on. So it was more or less during this time that I decided to take a break, and I wasn't painting that much. Actually, I become really, not obsessed, but I was reading a book, the Watership Down, I think it is called in English. I really love this book, so if you can read it, please read it. I really, really love it. It is about 5 rabbits. Well, no, maybe it is more rabbits, but it's really, really nice, and it is written in a way that it has a lot of lore, kind of like the Lord of the Rings. I mean, not exactly, because it is much more simple and easy to read. So anyway, don't listen to me. If you want, just read it. I really, really love that book. So I was giving myself more free time, just enjoying. I painted for the last 2 weeks. I think I painted very, very little because I wasn't feeling like it. And I would paint here and there as I was feeling motivated to do so, but I wasn't really doing studies. I completely abandoned my course. So that was a little bit what was going on. And I wasn't putting too much expectations on me, like I would paint if I feel like it, and that's it. And well, one day I was painting this. I can tell you the story of these balls in another video. But yeah, this is another cool idea. And I started painting this face, which I am really liking. This is more realistic than my previous paintings, but I like it as well. And I painted it, and it looked like this. And I don't know what do you think, guys, but compared to the other things that I painted, I feel like this one has a more pro something about it. I cannot even explain it because it is not like it is super elaborated. It doesn't have any super cool, crazy colors like some artists can do, but there is something about it that looks pro, and I really think that, let's zoom out. If I will do an illustration, a complete illustration where there are more things going on, painted in this style, I think it will look really like something I would love. So this is what happened. I don't know how, but I am kind of finding my drawing style and my rendering style, or at least this looks like a good beginning, because I would love to see a full illustration painted on this style. And this happened, I thought that it would be a lot of studies and exercises on trying different styles and doing this and doing that. But at the end of the day, all of this progress, I've done it doodling. And this was, when I was painting this, I was doing it without thinking much. It was almost the equivalent of scrolling on Instagram. I was watching TV, and while I watched TV, I was just taking whatever brush and I will give it some colors. And it looked like that. So yeah, I don't know, guys, if this has ever happened to you, that your progress happening in this kind of random way. I would love to hear it from you. Because for me, all my life I did a major in university, and then I grew in a corporate job. And the path was always very clear, right? You will put effort on learning or put effort in work. And the more effort you put, the better you will do it. And either you will get better grades, or at some point, job opportunities will appear for you. Like, the path is really straight, and it is very clear that if you put effort and you are trying your best, it's gonna get better and better. But in this case, with painting, I have to say I'm really lost. I'm really lost on how to evolve and how to organize my work. Because when I am trying to work hard and put a routine and try to learn, it's kind of, I'm not seeing much. Or I am even getting more frustrated. And then I suddenly decide to not do a lot, not take it very seriously, and out of nowhere it starts to look better. Or like with the course, I do something random and suddenly something sparks on me, and I can do a better job. And before that, and after that, after a while, I start to lose that. And I don't understand how. So if any of you have gone through this journey or you resonate with it, I would love to see your comments, because I'm completely lost. I'm not sure what to do now. Should I just not take this seriously and paint only when I feel like? Should I try to go back to have a routine and really put more time and so on? I don't know. Or maybe what I've been doing these weeks, which is also doing whatever I feel in the moment. So these weeks I am obsessed with landscapes, I will only do that. Then suddenly I only want to paint figures, I will do that. I don't really know. So if you ask me what is my plan for next week or for the next months, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how I am gonna handle it. If I'm gonna try to have more structure or not, because at this point not because I cannot do it, because I don't mind putting the effort, but I don't know if I'm gonna get a better result with it. And yeah, that's a little bit what has been going these weeks. For the next, I know at least what has been frustrating me. I've been frustrated by noses. This one I had to redo it a lot of times, and I am not happy about it. And what else? And yeah, and I was frustrated with trying to do compositions or full paintings. Like, for example, to this character, where do I have it? Now. So for example, for this character, I tried to add a little bit of background, and I was thinking maybe I could do a nice illustration out of it. But I think you can see that I have no clue what I'm doing. I have no clue what I'm doing with any of the layers of background or the leaves or whatever. So yeah, probably I will try to practice full compositions, but in miniatures, because I don't want to waste time or to put too much focus on it. And I realized that doing things in miniatures helps me to take the importance out of it. Like, I'm not gonna publish this anywhere. It is not nice if you make it bigger, so whatever. And that helps me really progress. So I guess I will do a couple of practices on that. And this is important to me because I want to start a course on October, and to do that I need to prepare a portfolio of illustrations before, so I will get accepted in the course. But of course, in order to do that, I need to be able to do better illustrations than this one. So yeah, this is something I want to prioritize, and let's see if I can get this portfolio done in August. But yeah, I cannot talk very loud because it could be that happens like in the past weeks, where suddenly my interest will switch and now I maybe only want to do flowers, or who knows, or I start to paint it in a different way. So I guess I will have to discover things as they happen on where I will focus. I'm gonna then give myself a lot of flexibility, and we will see. But anyway, let me know in your comments if you resonate with any of this, or if you have any advice for me. And yeah, talk to you next week. Bye bye.